we have the notes and the April and May batch. Let me tell you, majority of the insurance syllabus is complete. So what is balance is general average, your can close rules. I expect to start next week when the present March batch goes for their exam. So that's how it is planned. There are certain things we need to understand, in principle. Salvage is a very old concept. Salvage, you salve something. कि भाई ठीक है, कुछ चीज खराब हो गई है. Let's see maximum कितना echo in English language. Let's salve whatever it is. Like the building has caught fire, we put the fire, and let's find out how many things have been done. Let's see what we can salve. So salvage is an extension of that, limited in maritime transportation. It has a lot of background, but it was from 1910 that things started formalizing. But before coming to the timeline, there are 4 elements that keep ever given in mind because it was covered phenomenally on the television. So you will be able to relate to it. And I'll tell you, you will be able to answer any question. My objective is that I make you understand the concept. I have to take benefit of the historical background in a practical manner so that you can handle any question in written and oral. And how do you apply the thing, what you are learning here on board the ship? Nothing more. Objective is strictly in that order. For a maritime salvage, it is called maritime salvage, commonly known only as salvage. 4 elements have to be present. There has to be a maritime property. If a tug is going to rescue a plane that is landed, we are not talking about that. And that may be covered by some aviation law, whether it is called salvage or not, it is called rescue. We have got nothing to do with it. When we are talking about salvage, there has to be a maritime property which is in peril. What does peril mean? That in the present circumstance, with whatever resources are there in terms of machinery, equipment, trained people, with whatever resources there are on the vessel, maritime vessel as defined in Rule 3 of ROR. In the present circumstances, it cannot continue the passage. It requires resources from outside the ship. Only then it is considered a maritime property is in peril. Because your service speed of the container ship is 26 knots, and because of something you are doing hardly 4 knots, that you are unable to reach the destination port at time, that is not peril. You can still move. There may be good case for claim for damages, but you are not in peril that, we need to be assisted. No. And always remember, it is strictly in that order. When your ship is concerned, now you're coming to the senior management on board the ship. You're second in command. In the absence of the master, you will take command, not the chief engineer. There's something a matter of pride. Okay. So the third thing is voluntary service. Now this we need to understand. What does voluntary service mean? That when the maritime property is in peril, it cannot continue on its own. It has requested for outside resources, mainly the tugs and personnel, wherever the ship may be, from wherever the people on the tugs or experts, they have departed from whichever port in the world, they have departed voluntarily. Meaning, ever given was salvage. There was a Smith and Company, the top-notch company in salvage in Holland, I think Rotterdam. So the charterers Evergreen contacted them, and plus one more company that came from Singapore. It was closer, I think. So the Smith and Company in Holland said, we are not sending our tugs. Then it is not a part of it. Voluntary service. But becomes a contractual service the moment they reach the scene. They meaning that the salvage with the tugs and expert technician and people, they reach the scene, and between them and the master of the ship, they sign the Lloyd's open form. From that moment onwards, it becomes a contractual arrangement. You have to be very clear on this. And historically, and which continues till today, you, the salvage company, you want a reward. I'll come to the reward part of it. Well, you have to prove that you have saved some property, ship and or the cargo. अगर सब कुछ डूब गया तो ठीक है यार, फिर तुम्हारा कल get a single pay. And where the concept of reward comes, कि भाई initially जब हम लोगों ने tug भेजी थी, it would be wind force 8, 9 and the ship may be in peril, wanting outside assistance. Well, we came to your rescue, but they need a pat on the back. Then we will reward you in proportion to the property saved, property of the ship and the cargo. Together, a certain percentage of them, this is your reward. That is क्योंकि initial खर्चा to reach the C8 salver या salvage company is because it is voluntary service. ये salvage company, you are the best. Please, we are in dire straits. Our ship is in peril. Please move for salvage. Are you? Yes? Yeah, we are going. If you are not going because you are the best, we will advertise for any salvage company. There are millions of them. Are you with me till here?
Yes, sir.
Now, as I said, in the whole concept, the way it is still today, because there is Lloyd's open form of salvage agreement, which is a contractual agreement. Latest is 20. To the March batch, I sent a mail in this regard. Focus on that. And it is nothing, the format of the form on page 1 is not there, but some clauses, etc. Very rarely a person is asked, it's okay, it's legal. Now, we understand we need to start from here, a convention developed by CMI in 1910. Because why it was required in 1910, let's face it, yeah. The shipping was getting modernized, it was expanding, it was evolving. So the potential threat for the maritime property being in peril increased. So salvage company increased. So something, documented had to be there. So vessel intervention which continues. Salver has to prove I have saved the dispatch of the property of the ship, property of the cargo, if it is there, whatever. And when that is considered, by peril, on its own, the ship could not continue the passage. They asked for outside help. It was not a distress situation where you have to lower the lifeboat. That historically and now, based on human tradition and now Chapter 5 of scholars, safety of life is supreme. Whether your ship or distress call, you save a life, property, and the environment strictly in that order. Life first, property meaning the hull of the ship and the environment, not the other way. And now it is codified in Chapter 5 of solar that distress call you have to perform. And this is also important, whether historically or now. You cannot claim for a salvage reward. You meaning the person in the company coming for salvage for saving life. No, that is your duty. Better save life, then put your resources to see how you can tie the ship by throwing wires, by sending somebody there using helicopter, whatever you use. It's what, if you are able to save, then you are entitled to a reward. It's the total whole thing that saved ever given is approximately coming to $1 billion cargo, because the value of the ship is supposed to be about $125 billion. It's a huge salvage award, but it may not go to the Smith Salvage Company because Suez Canal Authority has also assisted in the salvage. I'll talk about. So when the property, ship plus cargo, if applicable, is considered safe, peril at a safe place, we the salvers have handed over ये नहीं कि पहले विंड पोस्ट 8, 9 था, वहां से तो बचा लिया, 4 तक से 2 कर रहे थे. But let's face it, there was a very big risk involved for the salvors. No cure, no pay. And I'm telling you, 1900 today, ठीक है, $1 million for some billionaires, it may be a pocket change. But salvage, depending upon the dangers that the salvors bring out the maritime property, it can run into lakhs and sometimes millions of dollars. And initially, the salvage, that is a salvage company, are spending on their own. Why? Because it has to be a voluntary service. आपने कहा, this is the position, reach there, RFA, we are on the way. ETA, so and so. Only, it's a very harsh principle कि इतना वो है, ठीक है, reward भी आपको millions of dollars में मिलेगा. So what? That is, it was only the salvage tradition which was codified in law. It continued when in around 1960s and 70s, the age of Aristotle Onassis, who created VLCCs and ULCCs, single hull, old tankers carrying large amounts of oil. You will be surprised in 60s and early 70s, up to 71, 72. I wish I'll be able to get it. It will be there in the Maritime Archive somewhere online, in public domain. Before Ankara, the law of the sea cape and the maritime zones were demarcated in the Mediterranean Sea on the eastward side, somewhere in the center, that is between Italy and some closest Greek island, but much south, falling in the center. On that particular chart, there was, I think, a 30-mile radius in magenta, a circle, a 30-mile radius, a dotted line was marked, which was, you can say, no man's land, because UNCLOS had not come, so nobody could claim the territorial sea or exclusive economic zone. What the tankers used to do, they would go there, keep going around in circles and do tank washing, pumping out freely. No country can point a finger, it is no man's land. पर यार, land किसी country की land पे तो नहीं तेल निकालनी, putting in water. And water, it is not marked in the water. A large number of countries, coasts were getting screwed up. This is a fact. The point is that they were very old sinkers, and because of that, there was over a 10-15-year period, 60 to let's say 75, 1975, a large number of what do you call, salvage companies had come up in all over the world. Their approach was, okay, right, life is life. I mean, even though we have to spend $10 lakh, we go and save life if we are called upon. And we don't charge. We save life, we bring them ashore. But other than that, yahi nahi pata ki yaar, their tankers are very old. We spend lakhs and lakhs of dollars voluntarily. We reach there, we are unable to save the tanker. Maybe in garnished, maybe loaded, partially loaded, or we'll not get anything. So there was a lot of reluctance being shown by the salvage companies. Salvage, nobody could force them. It's a private business and it's a highly technical business where they knew it's a 3 lakh ton tanker, 98% loaded. While we have started voluntarily, we are in touch with the ship and the captain is saying that, okay, the hull is safe. They are not going to be crashed, but we are drifting and it has to be done. There is a big chance of we be able to save the tanker, which will be running into millions of dollars for fully loaded 3 lakh tons of crude oil. Let's head, because we can be assured of saving it and we will get the reward. It was a very business approach. So it was alarming the coastal states, the Lloyds of London. Always remember better, do not confuse Lloyds of London with Lloyd's Register Classification Society. They are two totally different things. Okay, they are sister organizations, they are connected, but they are independent, parallel bodies. Lloyd's of London probably are the biggest insurers. Their base is very strong. Just to give you an idea, suppose there is an oil rig in Bombay High. Of course, it will be having insurance. They will come to General Insurance Company in India or ICICI, Lombard, or I don't know. Insurance premium can run into crores, but the value of the oil rig can be 10 times more than the crore. So tomorrow, if the oil rig catches fire and devastated, whoever ONGC is owning that oil rig, they will go to General Insurance or ICICI, Lombard. Now you pay for it. They do not have that financial base to settle the insurance claim. So what these small-time insurance company they do is they reinsure the subject matter of insurance with Lloyds of London. It is that General Insurance or ICI Lombard is paying the premium to Lloyds of London, and they don't pay from their pocket. They accordingly charge the premium from ONG. Everybody knows this is reinsurance. Lloyds of London is huge. What? $20 billion they can make settle the insurance. So coming back to our discussion, it was Lloyds of London. That's why it is called Lloyd's Open Forum. They came up with an idea that this is a genuine scenario. अभी तो शुरुआत हुई है 70s के end में, कल को 80 में ये पूरा खत्म हो जाएगा. We will keep the initial format of that contract. No cure, no. Don't worry on it. The whole question of salvage starts when, as far as the maritime property, the ship is concerned. When the salvage reach the sea, the tug master will cover the ship, discuss with the captain. They sign the Lloyd's Open Form, LOF, the contract of salvage starts, no cure, no pay, etc. Let's tackle the situation there itself. Okay, the salvage company, the salver, as per LOF, in that form, is given that option. Okay, if you have made an extra effort while salving the maritime property, you have made that extra effort to protect the marine environment. तो ये अलग चीज। तो जितना आपका खर्चा, हमने 20 आदमी हेलीकॉप्टर से भेजे, go to the engine, plug the leak or whatever, so that oil doesn't come into the marine environment. If it has come, we are reducing the impact. जो भी आपने किया, with complete logbook entries, which will confirm with the master, the chief engineer, you, the salver, has to prove what effort you have made to protect the marine environment from pollution. ये खर्चा था ना एक पैसा more. So the salvage companies, they were very happy because their companies जितने भी हैं, पता नहीं, I don't know how many of them, they all are part of something called as International Salvage Union. So this is a good thing, yeah. Now we don't mind कि भाई बुलाया गया, हम भागेंगे, environment को बचाएंगे, तो वो तो खर्चा पानी निकल आएगा. Salvers maritime property बचाएंगे, बचा लिया तो वो reward मिले. This innovative approach to prove the very successful. Everybody, ship owners, their insurers, the cargo owners, salvage तो उनको भी देना पड़ता है, their insurers, the PNI as everybody was happy कि यार चलो जो voluntary we'll have something else. Why is that doubt? Why IMO is making convention? Why not convert this wonderful idea along with no cure, no pay, etc. into a convention? So at IMO, the International Salvage Convention was developed in 1989. The majority of the country they have parted with, like India has parted with. It was a very big move forward, but till today it is considered as after 1989 countries and various things they started implementing the requirements of salvage convention in places where the salvage was required. How they have worded the convention, it is causing more problems as compared to before the convention was. It started coming to life. Gentlemen, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Before we come to the problem, there are only 3 articles of the Salvage Convention we need to be aware. And very common question, as per the International Salvage Convention, I write short notes on Article 12, Article 13, Article 14. So before coming to the problems, we need to touch upon what is Article 12. Very simple, no cure, no pay वाला जो concept था वो Article 12. But there has to be successful. I mean, it does not mean कि पूरा जहाज cargo से करना है. The point is the ship owner at the designated place, whatever port, enters into the agreement with the salvage company that you deliver the ship safely to me at so and so port. Start flying the ship and make money out of it and keeping it useful. The moment that is there, the salvage company will be justified in getting a reward. करता है कैसे do that? But that is where Article 13 we are coming to. That's the reward. The criteria मतलब कि what are the elements which are considered by the people who are deciding कि भाई ये salvage company को कितना award मिले. Have you understood Article 12?
Yes, sir.
Article 13, criteria for fixing the reward. This very generalistic. You can help from your mind also. The sales value of the vessel, the sales value of the but it is number 2 will be sales value of the cargo if applicable. Skill and effort in preventing a minimal damage to the environment, because the Article 14 deals with number 2. The measure of success. Let's talk not technical people. कि साल तो तुमने कर लिया, but you could not prevent the ship. धक्का लग गया छोटे से success. This will go as a minus point in the success of the salvage property. Nature and degree of danger. The most important thing is the weather and the circumstances under which the salvage operation. The skill. I mean, these people are telling you, you will, the Smith and Company, you will probably, as seafarers with all the seafaring background, अब तो इनके पैर छुएंगे. Such robust, physically, mentally tough, and so excellently trained. तुम्हारा कितना खर्चा हुआ? Risk of liability, promptness of service. यहाँ पे आता है कि जब you were contacted, how quickly that. That's why standby 24/7. They have to prove and show within a matter of 25-30 minutes. 5 tugs had departed from Rotterdam to rescue Ever Given. We are getting the information letter, but we have departed. It goes in their favor, and not your word against mine. Proper documented record. And finally, point number 9: the total reward for saving the maritime property in peril, which will include the ship and or cargo as applicable will never be more than the total value of cargo and the ship. If the total value of cargo and ship is $100, that is the maximum. So, एक कभी नहीं मिलेगा. Are you with me?
Sir, one thing I would like to ask, this amount of the salvage that will be paid by P&I Club?
No. Good question. Very good question. As far as the salvage award under Article 13, where there is success of saving the maritime property, which includes the ship and the cargo, that is paid by the hull and machinery insurer on behalf of the shipowner, cargo insurer on behalf of the cargo. Article 13 award is only involving these two insurers.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Finally, these things you can write. Reward, I mean, I have said it, but we will repeat it, only add to it. The ship cargo, the kind of cargo, I mean, if there is oil cargo, there is fire, there is LNG, LPG, what effort is there to say, by danger to the ship staff or their own staff, weather, stress, difficulties, everything is taken into consideration. That's why चार बंदे वो टग पे खाली वो note down कर रहे हैं, not at pieces of it, of the Salvage Convention of IMO, that's like solar, smartphone, etc. This is Salvage Convention. This is if the salver has been able to prevent damage to the marine environment, like in front as a product or chemical coming into the water, crude oil, LNG, LPG, escaping. It is titled Article 12, Condition for Reward. No, if it has, the salver has proved that there was possibility of damage to the environment, they made that additional effort and so many lakhs of dollars expenditure to prove it. They either either prevented damage, the additional money only and only equivalent of its expense. What it further means that this Article 14 जो खर्चा पानी आपको मिलेगा, ये कोई प्रॉफिट वाली बात नहीं है. आपका जितना खर्चा हुआ, आप पहले प्रूव करोगे कि आपने वो बचाया, मरीन एनवायरनमेंट को बचाया, बचाने में आपका ये खर्चा हुआ, जितना खर्चा हुआ आपको वो मिले. That is maritime value, cost of the maritime property in peril, which has been saved in this condition. What percentage of the whole thing you will get the reward. तो एक ये चीज रखती है कि जो salver का जो बिजनेस इंटरेस्ट है, प्रॉफिट का, वो आर्टिकल 13 से निकलता, प्रोवाइडेड देयर इज सक्सेस. आई मीन इफ देयर इज नो सक्सेस, देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी छोटी मोटी सैलवेज कंपनी दे वो बैंकरप्ट, अरे यार पूरा पैसा खर्च कर दिया था, सक्सेस भी नहीं. प्रॉफिट वो है. ये आर्टिकल 14 केवल इसलिए है कि जो प्रॉब्लम्स आ रहे थे 60s और 70s में ऑफ द ओल्ड stricken single hull tanker with the salver not coming, only seeing the business interest. छोटा मोटा टैंकर है, कितना मिलेगा, इससे ज्यादा खर्चा हो जाएगा यार, समझ जाए. तो coastal countries, France, Portugal, Spain, England, I mean, all those people, North Sea, Baltic Sea, they said, yeah, this is a serious, it can devastate us all. So Lloyd came up with that thing, but this special compensation is only for that. So it is outside. Treat 13 and 14 as two watertight compartments.
Sir, is it like Article 13 gives a extra bonus or reward and Article 14 just gives the compensation for all his expenses which were incurred by the salver?
Peter, पहली बात, I'd like to correct you. Article 13 does not give an extra bonus. As I understand, would be कि अगर total value of ship and cargo is $100, so extra bonus means कि Article 13 award is $105. नहीं, $100 से तो ऊपर कभी मिलेगा ही नहीं. 95% of the time it is always less than that. And अगर promptness of service rendered कितनी?
Yes, sir. Yes.
There is a benefit that has been included in Article 14. है कि मतलब there was the best possible effort to salve the property, zero damage, everything. मतलब वो एक अलग है, damage to extended. There was every possibility of oil coming here, but they brought in, they flew in 100 people with 10 rounds of helicopter, everything, right, to prevent the damage to environment. The council who decides, and इसलिए करना पड़ा, it is extremely difficult and still everything has been done to prevent the environment and they have been able to do it. They have to take the middle cost. थोड़ा हमारा that है, उतना ही मिलेगा, with the provision. And expenses reasonably, if I say salvage operation, fair rate of equipment, diesel, etc. A number of times it happens, not in ever given. I'll show you with an example that if the RTP award is, let's say, $80, the cost of saving the environment is $250, तभी दिया जाता है, but लेकिन तुम्हारा फायदा नहीं होगा. It is calculated first before the Article 13. And if the Article 13 award is $100, Article 14 expenses is $80, he gets only $100. कि भाई आप अपना ठीक है, 80% profit ना करके reduce your profit to 60%, we have to take a middle. That is the meaning of it. But there were problems that were coming. Meaning, the total amount due to the salvage. This is the profit, this is the expenses to save the environment. It has to be reasonable. You can't pressurize the owner, the ship owners and the hull and machinery insurers and the cargo owners and their insurers. Therefore, reward amount will never be calculated till the time the compensation has been calculated. So we will reduce it by 25% and put it in Article 13, and you know, be happy. And most of the salvors, they're aware of it, they end up being happy. And the question, this is a very common question. What were the problems with the implementation of Article 14, which led to the SCOPIC in 2000? Now, answering your question, is it by CMI Club? No. Article 13 is given by hull and machinery insurer on behalf of the ship owner, cargo insurer on behalf of the cargo owner. But if there is a claim for Article 14 for preventing the damage to the environment, that cargo owners have got nothing to do. It is the headache of the ship owner, and on behalf of the ship owner, the CMI Club pays for it. So the problem they started feeling कि यार ठीक है, salvage operation 12 घंटे में खत्म होता है. Most important thing was from the salver's point of view. खर्चा पाजे वही मिलेगा एक marine environment, and we have proved, which is a huge task, and we have proved that we made so many lakhs of dollars expenditure to prevent damage. Article 13, I'll just like to add, it will be H&M, and if there is cargo on board, which has also been said, cargo insurance.
So the reward will be divided into, actually one will be paid by H&M and cargo
insurance.
Sir, I also had a question about this voluntary service. Sir, if ship owner requests salvage company, so if they agree that they are coming, so it will be a voluntary service.
Salvage company शुरू हो गई. That is voluntary service. What is not a voluntary service? Salvage company ship owner से कहता है, भाई पहले ये बताओ हमको रोकना कितना मिलेगा, पहले वो सेटल करें, कितना पैसा कब से कब. Then it is not a voluntary deal. लेकिन in mind, the moment the salvors come on the sea and they sign with the captain Lloyd's open form, it is converted into a contractual salvage operation. It is a signed thing, legal.
The incident would happen in my company. The captain was sacked from the company regarding this.
What was the scenario?
The vessel was Sealand Meteor, and they were going in this Antwerp, and in the pilot during the Schelde River, they lost power propulsion main engine, and the wind force was, I think, around, I don't remember because I went back into all this case, bridge discipline meeting about this. So they lost power, and then pilot said, and wind force around 6 or 7 to the river. So yes, pilot called the tugs immediately, but the pilot was forcing captain to make fast the tug, and then made fast, it would become a salvage contract. Pilot already called them, so captain was a bit confused. This was his first contract as a master, so he called the company. They said, okay, we are sending, because Switzer is also part of. So they said they will send they said do not make any other tug. But captain, because of pilot forcing him, he agreed to make fast the tug. And once the tug was made fast, they refused to, company asked them, do not make fast any tug. So captain ordered the Avis to release the tugs. So made the line tie, they were not letting go. And later on, after, I don't know, what happened, the captain was sacked. And
in this case, where I have to be very careful, number one, it is captain's orders, pilot's advice. Let the pilot say anything till the time master agrees. Do not make pilot forces. Fine. No, pilot, I'm not making fast this time. I need instructions from the to happen. One has to. So once ship's line has been made, no tug is good. They will claim for a salvage
because the salvage cost will cost in millions.
Otherwise, क्या होता है? The other option is towage contract by the hour, which may be $2,000 per hour. Pocket change. So, uska, I'll tell you, ऐसे केस में क्या करें? They are not releasing. Get the fitter with what do you call gas torch, cut the line on the fox failure. वो तो कर सकते हैं.
He was trying, but he couldn't. He was trying.
नहीं यार तुम बटर नाइफ से काटोगे तो कभी हौजर कटेगा. अगर जल्दी से जल्दी वो कंपनी ने कहा don't break fast and get up to get the oxyacetylene bottles and keep the fire extinguisher की वो पॉलीप्रोपिलीन हौजर पूरा आग में लगा दे. तब पायलट क्या करेगा? तब पायलट क्या करेगा? अभी पहली बात तो it is very easy to sit and discuss and we have to get that like what would have been the thought process of the master. You should not be and I should not be able to ignore it. क्या pressure वो feel कर रहा होगा. But इस तरह के incident मतलब trouble shooting यार एक cut the thing यार get a butcher's knife or get trouble shooting के God forbid मेरे कमान के अंदर कभी ऐसा हुआ तो उसका कारण क्या है? Because the tugs will demand for that. There is a very stiff competition. Smith, they are the most expensive. They are the ones who are hired the best possible protection. So the point is the competition is there among the salvage salvers and the salvage companies. साल में एक बार salvage operation मिला तो कुछ $1 million मिल गए. बाकी तो क्या है? ऐसे वो बदमाशी और पाजीपना करते हैं. ये एक बार लाइन हो गई भैया salvage. Although we fought or it will be fought because they cannot claim a threat to you. Before we break and I will continue in the lecture number 4. एक चीज मैं दिखाना चाह रहा था कौन दिखता कैसे है. तो यहाँ पे लेटेस्ट वर्जन होता है जैसे LOF तो 2020. आप ये देखिए अब when I said voluntary है जब आप शुरू होते हैं but it becomes a form of a contractual agreement because there was signature between person signing for and behalf of the contractors. Salvage contractors are the captain. अगर कैप्टन ने ये साइन नहीं किया तो तुम चलते रहो. ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फ्री साइन किया तो I'm surprised कि why the company sacked. उनके कोई अपने कारण होंगे. अच्छा, in the next lecture also showed the form. Where will you find this form on the ship? Always remember, beta, it is part of the slide.
Yes, I can see.
We had image. This is where you pick what is the full form of scope. You can memorize it, fine. Otherwise, in your exam, write SCOPIC is good. Actually, this is wrong. When SCOPIC came in SCOPIC with special compensation P&I clause. So it cannot be. Now, problems were being faced with Article 14 of the Salvage Convention. So one option was, as Papol, etc., there are so many amendments have come since it was created. Amend the countries have to debate. Now the run has been good. But because of gaps in the Salvage Convention, ये ना हो कि कोई भागने शुरू कर जाए. You cannot force them to come first for being the life and for it. I mean, realistically. So the point was, why amend the Salvage Convention at IMO? Why not add to the Lloyd's open form? Okay, when the salvers come on the sea, कहानी कहाँ से शुरू होती है? The salver representative, the master, they sign the Lloyd's open form. Article 12, conditions for reward, no cure, no pay. There has to be a success before we will look in your direction. Article, the criteria, what will go into deciding how many $1 million you're supposed to get. Article, what if the environment के द्वारा खर्चा पारे दे. तो बाद की बात है ना, land पे जब negotiations होगी कि भाई just put forward their case, the arbitrators with the support from the International Salvage Union कि नहीं, you have to, the lawyer will start favor of the salvage. बाद की बात. On the scene कहाँ से कहानी शुरू होती है? So why not we put something there to overcome the situation instead of amending the convention to cover this problem of Article 4? सबसे बड़ा problem. It was applicable for getting the kharcha pari and only if there was a threat to the environment and the salvers gone the extra, put the extra effort to prevent or minimize the damage to the environment. That was number one. Thing to do with other than environment, Article 14. Number two, application of Article 14 was very limited to the distance from the coast near coastal waters. अगर वही environment को save करने 150 मील दूर था तो Article 14 is not applicable. It was limited, but the problem that it started having less and less applicability, preventing plus ऊपर सबसे बड़ी headache that to prove कि भैया हमने इतना खर्चा किया, ये effort किया to save the environment. It's very difficult to prove. So the problem solution was SCOPIC. So SCOPIC has been, अगर चाहते तो this can be amended अमेंडमेंट निकलते हैं, बट सबसे पहले एनी एक्स्ट्रा एफर्ट इज मेड, एनवायरमेंट वो सही है, अगर नॉन एनवायरमेंट के लिए भी है तो एक्स्ट्रा खर्चा पानी होगा. If you're perfect, you will get the kharcha pani. And number two, most important, the distance from the coast was not limited to near coastal water. 400 miles from the coast also would be applicable. Up sahi hai. But if by always the whole idea is to take a middle path, not too much in favor, not too much in favor of the cargo or the ship interest, middle path. So certain, how riders were put to ensure that nobody takes advantage. So the point now, at this point, I would like to show you the inclusion of the SCOPIC, because it does not come automatically. The salvors have to choose, need to go and have a look at the form. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
You not get into the clauses, etc. आराम से जहाज के SCOPIC manual खोल के दो. Our interest is box number 7. This format of 1 to not change what has is the clauses, niche, contractors, obligations, environment protection, is incorporated into this agreement, yes or no. पहला तो ये, अगर SCOPIC नहीं है तो then he will have to write Article 14 International Convention. The salvors can get benefit either from Article 14 of Convention or the SCOPIC, not the both. Are we?
Yes, sir.
Now, get to you, very for 9 terms. It is a 2-point approach. Number one, it has to be mentioned in the Lloyd's open form. When I say जब salvors आते हैं sea पे, and the other is contractual arrangement, contract to salve the property which is ship and on the. So, sorry, I forgot. Correct. So, if the salver is including the SCOPIC into the contract, that is the first step. The second step is the salver has to give it in writing. Henceforth, I will start counting the benefit of the SCOPIC clause. जब तक वो आजकल तो on a fax or email between the salvers, mail, tug and Lloyd is कि जब तक ये दोनों चीजें salver नहीं करता है, he will not get the benefit of this clause. And the time for your kharcha pani for the environment, yes. Any non-environment, yes. Will start from the time when you give it, you the invited to the invoking with henceforth I'm going to take the benefit of this SCOPIC special compensation PNI clause. To start counting from there. Unlike Article 14, वो वहाँ पे पहुँच गए, instead of SCOPIC, this is Article 14, तो the time for expenditure will start counting from there. कहने का मतलब ये है कि ऐसा कभी होता नहीं है, लोग हंसे गए. अगर ऐसा होता है तो साल्वर को कंपनी बंद करके मोबाइल की दुकान खरीदी खोल लेंगे. तो भाई उसने वहां पे टिक कर दिया स्कोपिक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट यस, और वो रिटन में नहीं देता कि henceforth so many hours to do on so and so day invoking स्कोपिक. अगर वो नहीं देता है तो न तो उसको आर्टिकल 14 का बेनिफिट मिलेगा न स्कोपिक का बेनिफिट मिलेगा. इफ देयर इज नो सक्सेस तो आर्टिकल 13 का भी कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. तो वो या तो मोबाइल की दुकान खोल ले या मोमो बेचने लगे. और आर्टिकल 14, the only difference is Article 14 is only applicable for saving the environment, kharcha pani, SCOPIC, anything. So if ever given, SCOPIC was used, whatever little information I have been able to get, there was no threat to the environment. लोगों ने कहा था पीछे भी था, तो पीछे was no chances of which have really gone inside. Now it's called Lloyd's open form. It is a contract. Yeah, this is what I wanted to say. That although it is a contract, and any contract, the money is always written down. In the contract, the wages are wages, overtime, whatever it is there. This is the services, but because of the nature of that is decided later on in future on land. Focus at that time, focus on salvage. Are we clear on this?
सर मतलब अगर चाहे आर्टिकल 14 के अगर उसके अंडर हो चाहे ये स्कोपिक के अंडर, हर दोनों केसेस में साल्वर को रिटर्न में लिख के देना पड़ेगा मास्टर की इस टाइम से स्टार्ट हो रहा है तभी उसको बेनिफिट मिलेगा.
नो, आर्टिकल 14 में लिख के देने की जरूरत नहीं है. वहां पे जो मैंने फॉर्म पे दिखाया इज स्कोपिक पार्ट ऑफ दिस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, नो. और उसके अगेंस्ट लिखेंगे आर्टिकल 14 इंटरनेशनल सैल्वेज कन्वेंशन. लेकिन अगर उसको वो यस करता है ना उसको स्कोपिक पार्ट ऑफ दिस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट यस ओके मैं नहीं कहूंगा कि भैया तुमने स्कोपिक का वो रिटर्न नहीं दिया है, मैं क्यों बोलूं, तुम्हारी हेडेक है. द साल्वर रोड ही as soon as possible. Clear?
In case it has not been in the contract that PIC is not applicable, means they said no. So it's automatically Article 14 because anyhow he will get either if they have agreed for SCOPIC, if they haven't, the server get from Article 14 automatically.
Right. No, not automatically. That's a very good question you have said, and I will just bring it again. See this?
Yes, I can see.
Okay. So it is not automatic. Is incorporated into no state alternative. Alternative एक ही है, आर्टिकल 4 वो पूरा लिखना पड़ेगा. अगर यहाँ पे नो कर देता है और आर्टिकल 14 का नहीं करता है तो शिप ओनर के बल्ले बल्ले वो $3 बिलियन खर्च कर दे वो फॉर सेविंग द एनवायरमेंट, उसको देना नहीं मिलेगा उसका खर्चा.
Understood. So means it's mandatory to state the alternative because it's
Absolutely. यहाँ लिखा हुआ है स्टेट ऑल्टरनेटिव.
yes.
सर ये एक बार फिर से बता दें.
और बेटा
सर कैन यू रिपीट दिस लास्ट पॉइंट प्लीज?
आई जस्ट ब्रिंग इट. द क्वेश्चन वाज कि अगर स्कोपिक को नो कर देता है तो विल आर्टिकल 14 अप्लाई ऑटोमेटिकली? द आंसर इज नो. व्हाई? बिकॉज इज द स्कोपिक इनकॉर्पोरेटेड इनटू द एग्रीमेंट. इफ इट इज नो तो यहाँ पे कहता है स्टेट का ऑल्टरनेटिव एक ही है, आर्टिकल 14 इंटरनेशनल सैल्वेज कन्वेंशन ऑफ नेशनल. उसके लिए टू द एनवायरमेंट कमिंग टू एक was signed by a company. One was signed between your Suez Canal Authority and the master. Why? Because the tugs and the manpower was provided by the Suez Canal Authority. So they said कि भैया ये तो हमारा इतना ज्यादा एफर्ट, इतना ज्यादा खर्चा हुआ, जितना खर्चा हुआ हमको उतना मिलना है. क्या आगे होगा? Lot of things are balanced.
सर जो क्रेन खुदाई कर रहा था उसका पैसा कौन देगा?
बेटा वही तो खर्चे हैं स्कोपिक में होगा. तो एनीथिंग इट इज दैट क्रेन या ड्रेजर जो खुदाई कर रहा था, पता नहीं 100-150 लोग 24 घंटे 7 दिन के लिए खड़े थे. एक तब उनका कितना डीजल खर्चा, और यही तो आउट पॉकेट एक्सपेंसेस है. तो ये खर्चा हुआ, ये मैं क्लेम करूँ, न प्रॉफिट न लॉस, ये मिलना है. एंड SCOPIC is applicable for authority. It is nothing to do with the environment. Fully applicable if threat to environment. SCOPIC applicable enough.
सर अगर इन केस में जैसे अगर मान लीजिए थ्रेट टू एनवायरनमेंट नहीं है तो और SCOPIC भी नहीं करा अगर, तो फिर उस केस में कैसे कंपनसेशन मिलेगा?
फिर तो गेट आर्टिकल डज नॉट गेट इट. तो वही मैं आई एम कमिंग टू वन स्लाइड आगे आपको दिखा रहा हूँ मैं. ये दो स्टेप, दो स्टेज प्रोसेस. नंबर 2, you have to be very clear. Article 14 and SCOPIC are mutually exclusive. मतलब दोनों में से एक ही चीज लागू होगी. It will either be 14 or SCOPIC. He cannot have to decide at the time of taking the salvage operation and signing the experience as to what will be beneficial. 14 or SCOPIC, phenomenal threat to the environment. So 14, he will be beneficial. He will try to make a huge compensation, I mean not compensation, expenditure. अब वो कितना decide करता है, थोड़ा साइड में भी मिल सकता है. So ये है इन्वोक टू एग्जिस्टेंस कि अब शुरू कर रहे हैं बाय द साल्वर. इट सब्स्टिट्यूट 14. दे कैन ईदर बी अ रिवॉर्ड एज नॉट रिवॉर्ड फॉर एक्सपेंसिव एज 14 और स्कोपिक बट नॉट बोथ. इसमें फायदा क्या है? इसमें फायदा क्या है कि जब वो स्कोपिक लेता है वहां पे टिक करता है नंबर 7 पे. आज मान लो इस वक्त टाइम क्या है 13 ऑन 3rd of around whether it is big private, वहां पे उसने स्कोपिक टिक किया हुआ है. क्या ईमेल I am invoking it, मतलब henceforth on I am invoking, मतलब starting the counting, bringing into play. तो जब ये होता है, captain is immediately supposed to inform the ship owner. क्यों? Ship owner has hours to deposit $3 million in the salver's account. ये बाद में एडजस्ट होगा, अगर खर्चा कम होगा तो salver is supposed to return. वो सब बात की बात है. ये फायदा होता है स्कोपिक का जो 14 में नहीं था. तो अगर उसको लगता है कि भाई ये वेदर बहुत हो रहा है, ये जहाज डूबने वाला है, मैं नहीं बचा पाऊंगा, तो इमीडिएटली कब से कब $3 बिलियन मेरा खर्चा पानी तो मिलेगा.
Understood, sir. This $3 million can change depending on the agreement.
No, this is fixed. ये तो अच्छा, ये नहीं कोई गारंटी नहीं दे दी है शिप ओनर का. हाँ, वर्बल वी आर डूइंग इट, वी विल नॉट वेट. साल्वर इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू, बस पहले कंफर्मेशन बैंक से मेरा कोई मैं फोन करूंगा तो आएगा, तब आगे शुरू करूंगा. मैंने इन्वोक कर दिया, दैट इज स्पीक टेकन केयर ऑफ. तो आप कह सकते हैं अगर 48 घंटे थोड़ा बहुत ऊपर नीचे कर दिया, अनेबल टू कैंसिल द LOF एंड होल सैल्वेज ऑपरेशन, का फायदा. ठीक है. कि मुझे कम से कम हाँ
salvage revoke the SCOPIC, does the ship owner has the right to not to accept that?
no, he does not have the right. Very good question. Right, number 7, is it वो right salver का the captain has to sign no cry what etc. No, matter between the salver and the ship.
The in agreed by in the that if required the salver can invoke the SCOPIC. There should not be any question in not accepting.
ऑप्शन में ये इन्वोक कहने का मतलब है कि between 14 and SCOPIC पहले लोअर साइड कर रहा है तो salver is indicating I'll be focusing on trying to get my खर्चा पानी पर अभी तक कुछ शुरू नहीं होगा जब तक वो रिटर्न में नहीं देगा. ओके in position so and so date invoking SCOPIC क्योंकि सबसे उनका खर्चा पानी कैलकुलेट होना शुरू करेगा not from the time they came on the scene.
Understood.
Now तो ये इसका फायदा ये है salver is recovering लेकिन आप कह सकते हैं इसमें तो salver का फायदा तो इन ऑल केसेस मिल सकता है तो कुछ तो मिलेगा एक्सपेंसिव से और बाकी जो प्रॉफिट है मेरा वो आर्टिकल 30 में मिल ही रहा है. तो ये मैंने गलत कर दिया. दिस शुड बी डिस्काउंटेड टू दिस शुड बी वो एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ. ये मतलब ये है कि पहले वो इसका ये मतलब है कि इट मीन्स दैट इफ SCOPIC brought into use was able to sell the property which meaning article 30 का कैलकुलेशन तो होगा ही hence eligible for article 30. Then compensation had been reduced to 25%. The salvage is very much sold for जो अब उसका एग्जांपल यहाँ पे देखो नेक्स्ट में. If the salvage reward is $100 that is article 30 special credit for protecting the environment as per environment non-environment दोनों ये is 5% of this much only which means that the salvers will get a total amount of $105. तो ठीक है $100 तो मेरे वो 100% मेरा प्रॉफिट है ही उसमें मेरा खर्चा वगैरह मैं सब दिखाता हूँ उसमें प्रो डाटा ब्रिजेस भी होते हैं एवरीथिंग इज $80 द टोटल अमाउंट इज ओनली $100 नॉट अप्लाई टू. वो कहेगा कि मैं अगर मेरा खर्चा इस पे आने वाला है जस्ट फोकस ऑन द रिवॉर्ड व्हिच मींस दिस इज जस्ट एन एक्सप्लेनेशन और भी देखो यही है. If SCOPIC is incorporated in it, but not involved, the salver will neither have protection in 14 nor SCOPIC. तो उसको मोमो बेचना शुरू कर देना. That is what is the final thing.
So sir, SCOPIC he will use only when he understood that he cannot. Maybe he will be able to save that. He will apply SCOPIC.
Correct. अगर हाँ जैसे इसमें एक खर्चा बहुत ज्यादा आ रहा था तो they have gone in for SCOPIC. Special compensation $300 million सुएज कैनाल अथॉरिटी ने मांगा विद ग्रीन जो चार्टर्स थे दे हैव ऑब्जेक्टेड. वो कोर्ट हियरिंग का क्या था वो पता नहीं चल पाया. उसका कारण ये है ये देखो ये टेबल आर्टिकल 30 रिवॉर्ड जहाँ पे प्रॉफिट है तो यार सिक्योर मतलब सक्सेस है हु इज रिस्पांसिबल एंड कार्गो इंश्योरर. अगर वो आर्टिकल 14 के लिए जा रहा है तो ओनली शिप ओनर इज रिस्पांसिबल गिवन बाय क्लब. और अगर SCOPIC के लिए जा रहा है अगेन शिप ओनर इज रिस्पांसिबल. तो दिस इज व्हाट द
बट अगर उसने ऑल्टरनेटिव में लिखा हुआ है कि वो अगर ऑल्टरनेटिव में उसने आर्टिकल 14 मेंशन किया है तो हाउ विल ही नॉट गेट कंपनसेशन एज पर आर्टिकल 14?
उसमें केवल अगर एनवायरनमेंट का थ्रेट है अगर आपके साथ हो आर्टिकल 14 बिना असेसिंग द सिचुएशन बाद में पता चला यार यहाँ पे तो कोई एनवायरनमेंट का थ्रेट नहीं है तो उसका पता चला यार जब एनवायरनमेंट का थ्रेट ही नहीं है तो तुम क्या एफर्ट कर रहे हो क्लेम करने के लिए अपना खर्चा पानी कुछ नहीं मिलेगा यार इससे अच्छा तो SCOPIC कर लिया. और उस SCOPIC के लिए तब जाता है या तो एफर्ट फिनोमिनल या उसको लगता है यार डाउटफुल है 50 चांसेस है वेदर आई विल बी एबल टू सेव द प्रॉपर्टी क्योंकि वो चार्ज की अगर देयर इज नो सक्सेस आई डोंट गेट $3 billion तो मुझे आई विल adjust the
Doesn't the PNI club get away without paying the compensation as per article 14 because SCOPIC में तो वो सिक्योरिटी दे रहे हैं बट 14 में सिक्योरिटी नहीं दे रहा है कोई. So is it a big risk?
तो जैसे उसमें था ना जो प्रॉब्लम था कि article 14 was only applicable to the environment. Number 2, the had to prove is what do to actually save the threat to the environment, which is a Herculean task. और यहाँ पे lawyers आते हैं. CNI club भी top notch lawyers will be hired on job. Now, salvage हो गया, property handed over safely with article award का claim salvage के पास से justifiable. There is an institute of salvage arbitrator is out of the arbitrator is like a retired judge and he or she is neutral not load to the they put forward the case कि article 13 हमारा ये है आप लॉग बुक एंट्री देख लीजिए ये अवार्ड होना चाहिए. अब लोगों ने पता किया है कि ये शिप की वैल्यू इतनी है कार्गो की वैल्यू इतनी है ये तो 13 अवार्ड है message. We had invoked SCOPIC, $3 million is in our account, but the ship owners, the lawyers, they object. All the decision is done. The salvage में तो बहुत टाइम लगेगा क्योंकि actually ये भी पढ़ने को आया कि उन कंटेनर्स में जब many containers which are not insured, कार्गो इंटरेस्ट कह रहा है कि भैया हमारा कार्गो डिले हो रहा है, वो अलग कॉम्पनसेशन अभी पूरी इंक्वायरी रिपोर्ट नहीं आई है, बट ये है April and May back when I have completed general average, I will again take the March back. This is 100% case of general average. What common maritime adventures got disrupted? You remember?
Yes, sir.
General average and there is salvage. LOF side between Smith and Evergreen, Suez Canal Authority and Evergreen. We wait.
Sir, this vessel which just near the coast of Sri Lanka is Express Pearl. So उसमें जो salvage आएगा उनको तो SCOPIC मिलेगा और
but it is a confined. Just what to mention, although I do it in ये पढ़ लेना कि there is this Nagasaki Spirit का एक केस स्टडी है कि when BLCC Nagasaki Spirit and Ocean जैसे collided, only 2 people survived. India, Southeast Asia. Salvage company had gone in for SCOPIC because it was loaded, but a very huge SCOPIC award. कि जब से तक पहुंची थी हम तो तब से काउंट कर रहे हैं, नॉट फ्रॉम द टाइम दे इन्वोक क्लॉज टू फिर उनको नॉट इवन 10% मिला था, वेरी इन कोर्ट्स इन लंदन. ठीक है, तो ये ब्रीफली है. तो नो व्हाट आर द कॉमन क्वेश्चंस व्हिच आर शॉर्ट नोट्स आर्टिकल 12 और what were the problems faced by Article 14 of Salvage Convention which resulted in the SCOPIC or when does towage exist? I've already given it in detail. इसमें देखा towage contract is very cheap. It is by the hour. And जहाँ पे to a place of refuge, जहाँ पे the master can intervene if the situation is we have to go in for salvage. Master can refuse. The most important thing is just the difficulty in performance of the towage does not automatically convert where the professional experience, professional maturity, professional judgment of the master comes into play. Practically, when the towage starts, the master will take all the information from the towage master, the tug master, what that the wire, what is the distance. He will have the weather report, it's everything. So you can wait the time before we start the towing. The tow that way, the resources at hand got by tow the vessel are now in. They have to get more resources than master will say. So salvage, LOF, nothing else. Beyond and above what was an initially negotiation as part of the. If the vessel is being towed, there may be a possibility master may have the bridge. He has to observe the situation down to the minute because the master वो उसी तरह में हो गया जल्दी से कुछ वो salvage में convert करे. Master has to be very careful. Keep that in mind. The resources at hand existing on the vessel but not in distress. Number one. Outside the ship, resources have been brought to the sea with this contract. You don't have to bother about it. You don't sign the towage contract. You decide, sure, you go decide the LOL. The towage card, I need to the situation, get the weather report, lab check, anything. The possibility of situation detected by the towing company may not be sufficient in future. Oh, right. When you don't try and get तो बहुत छोटी टग लेके आए. No, that is speculation. Where I've got tug experience, you have got an experience. Your word against mine. Don't get into traffic lane. The situation, okay, my resources, disabled condition, what is the possibility? Let's hope for that. And logbook entries on both are about important. You cannot have the meter down for towage contract as the moment you start becoming towage contract automatically stops. Terminate the contract to tow. Are you with me?
yes, sir.
Focus on this. That's what यहाँ पे this is what keep in mind and the way you are the right hand of captain, second in command. So that because of his finding difficulty in tow is not a reason to convert into stuff. And the trump card is, well, I'm converting the thing, the line is already connected, well, I'm the LOS. You can do whatever you want. The salvage arbitration will not accept till the time the captain's signature is there. I have to tell my company, the DPA, duty superintendent, whatever. I need advice, immediate advice. ISM code requires that.
In this case, call PNI Club.
Very good. Very good. But okay, yeah, middle of Atlantic Ocean, Canadian PNI Club को call करें तो कि UK वाले to call that I need an right away.
Understood, sir.
And if you're very close to the port of French, France में वो जो भी rep है, whichever port, call him and I'm disabled. This is what I want advice. You get in touch with. I'm standing by on the PNI Club. It's very good.
Sir, what if a 2-3 salvage vessel arrives voluntarily to do the salvage operation?
So let's say again, beta. What was?
Sir, what happens when 2-3 salvage vessel arrives to do the salvage operation voluntary? Which one?
That's the captain's decision. Very good for the possibility, but practically it is rare because company will inform only the best in that area closest to the sea that okay, disable this and okay, what are your resources? What are your resources? Number two, and choose. But in
And
this
what
case,
if
for example, ever given, there were two salvage companies, Smith from Mike India Tango, Rotterdam. You will hear their name, like gold standard of salvage. I'm telling you. And there was one company hired by Evergreen from Singapore, but smaller. Both of them, because Evergreen told them to go there, that we want to hire your place. Right? They needed combination of resources. The main the special the SCOPIC is and will be Canal Authority, which will be Evergreen because they are claiming $300 million. Can you imagine? वो पता नहीं क्या चीजें डाल दी वो अब देखा जाएगा एक साल के बाद की कोर्ट में क्या होता है इसमें एक justice nahi hoga because the authority involved. Suez Canal. The university in my class, there was an elderly guy from Gamal Ghalwash from Egypt. A good guy told me, Gamal, Marlboro carton is like a parallel currency. The president knows about the Marlboro exchanges. Everybody looks the other side because one single activity, that is the Suez Canal, transit by ships daily, contributes 28% of Egyptian GDP. Anybody will want to disturb that. So the whole thing is being fought in Egyptian courts. One of the parties is we have to keep our fingers crossed and wait what comes out of the inquiry. And it's the initial thing that initial or three reasons come forward. The reason for number one, weather. That okay, the wind, because of the huge windage area, there was like a very sandstorm, which possibility, but possibility of this area. But what is being said is the vessel was transiting the canal at a speed greater than what is allowed in that area, which falls on both the ship owner and the pilot. Captain's orders, pilot's advice. Part of it will also fall on the Suez Canal Authority. Okay, captain did not realize you are a pilotage. What is mandatory pilotage? What was the pilot doing? What was the Suez Canal Authority doing that you are not on call? Reduce your speed, the communication. Right? Too many things coming up, but the two things that you general average and the happy, what we have discussed here.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow I have got one lecture. So Saturday I have three. I will be going through the merge act. And before I come to the lecture, that will happen. I can just go through. It's very specific. I will be taking 4 or 5 lectures on merchant shipping as more topics. So here, all lectures. उसी में से घुमा कर आते हैं with time tomorrow. So can we now break for lunch?
Yes, sir.
Sir, on Saturday, from what time we'll have classes?
Hey, beta, I'll tell you. Let me just open this. I have tell you the reason. कभी क्या होता है कि you guys started on 1 day holiday for Puri. वो जो minimum number of hours दिखाने होते हैं ना class hours की requirement. इसलिए कभी वो Saturday लेना पड़ता है. So not to worry. The first class 9 to 10 9 till Mr. Kasool Sena, and third again 9 and number 4 till lunch. And then after lunch again Chief Engineer Mr. Mathur and the last class. So whose lecture do you have after lunch today? Captain Ajay Pujara.